So to tell you the truth, and not a lot was removed from the routing and switching blueprint as we're moving towards enterprise infrastructure. The big three sections that were added were the SD-WAN, the SD-Access, and the programmability, which again, we're going to be focusing on after we finish this course. Then we're going to circle back to those three main topic areas. Okay, next let's look at the hardware specification. And this is on the Cisco Learning Network. We have the CCIE Enterprise Infrastructure Equipment and Software list. It says the practical exam tests candidates on solutions that can be configured using the below equipment and software versions. Candidates may see more recent software versions during their attempt, but will only be tested on features that are supported in the list below. Passing the exam requires an in-depth understanding of difficult to obtain without hands-on experience. Early in your preparation, you should arrange access to equipment and software similar to that used in the exam. So on a dedicated UCS-C server, basically a pizza box server that you have to purchase. As of now, there's no virtual DNA center, at least that I'm aware of. So hopefully shortly down the road, they do release DNA Center Virtual, and then that's going to make it easier for us to get access to these particular topics. Okay, then supporting virtual machines, Identity Services Engine. That's going to go along with SD Access, basically saying, do I admit the user to the network or not with network admission control? And Windows 10, I'm assuming we're doing maybe packet capture on this guy. Same with the Ubuntu desktop. But for this class, we're mainly focusing on the CSR 1000V, the IOSV image, and then the IOSV L2 image. These are the ones that we can run directly in the virtual internet routing labs. Okay, so how can you get access to this topology? In my case here, I'm running the virtualization on Packet.net, which is the cloud hosting provider. So I have one physical box that I'm running viral on. And if we go here under packet.com and go under, let's see, I'm looking for their pricing. And I'm using an M2 X large x86 server, which is $2 an hour. So you don't necessarily need to buy your own server. If you're running viral, you could use viral in the cloud and then just keep turning it on and turning it off. They also have a feature here that's called the spot market. What do they call it here specifically? They call it the spot market. So you can bid on servers. So for example, if we go to their New Jersey data center and select what server we want to use, it's going to tell us what is the normal price of this and then what is the current bid for the server. And a lot of the times you can get these pretty cheap. So here, 25 cents an hour. But ultimately, this is up to you guys. You could also use GNS3. You could use the other solution. I can't remember the name offhand. But similar to GNS3, as we're going through the virtual section. Now for the DNA Center, this is going to be a little bit harder. And so far, I haven't found a good resource for this remotely. There may be some information on Cisco dCloud, but for now, I'll have to hold off on this, and I'll get back to you guys later about what is the scope of the access that they can get you. Okay, additionally, as we go through the individual topics, we're going to talk about general preparation strategy for the exam. We'll talk about recommended resources in terms of books and outside links that you would want to read, because this class is not ultimately going to be the end-all and be-all for everything. You do need to still do your own research on the protocols, read through the command references, read through the configuration guides, because ultimately those are going to be your only resources that you have access to when you get to the actual exam. So I'll be showing where those are located as we get to the individual topic areas, but it's up to you to actually use the documentation to make sure that you're familiar with browsing the format of it. Okay, so what is our overall objective here is to learn a structured approach. Structured approach for three things: configuring the technologies, verifying the technologies, and then troubleshooting the technologies. So if you only know how to copy and paste out of the documentation and just cross your fingers that everything works, then you're likely going to have a very bad day when you get to the exam. So as I'm going through the configuration, I'm going to be introducing problems, some of them on purpose, some of them on accident, because the key here is that these are not pre-scripted examples. These are going to be live examples I'm doing on the CLI. So sometimes I'll make mistakes myself. If you guys can point them out, that would be a great help. But troubleshooting is half of the fun here for this class. So it's not pre-scripted examples. In terms of class prerequisites, hopefully everybody has like a CCNA or CCNP level of knowledge for Ethernet switching and just regular bridging, for layer 3, IP version 4, and IP version 6. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over like the addressing structure of v4 or v6. There's some outside resources that you could use for that. And I have one of them right here actually, which is IPv6 Theory, Protocol, and Practice. Okay, so if you haven't seen this book, you may want to find an electronic copy or take a look at it. By Pete Lotion is the name. So this is a protocol independent view of IPv6, so it doesn't talk about the actual implementation like on Cisco, but it does talk about the changes in the addressing infrastructure and the ICMP neighbor discovery, things like that, just the basic protocol. And the placement, the physical placement of your servers or your applications. It just gives you more flexibility where you can plug stuff into the network, and then you can define, do I need these servers to have layer 2 access to each other or layer 3 access to each other? And that's ultimately what the DNA Center is going to define. There was another comment here, EVE-NG. That was the one that I was trying to think of with GNS3. So either viral GNS3 or EVE-NG, whatever is your personal preference for using the virtualization, any of those are going to be available. There's a question, I'm currently a CCIE routing and switching. Do you know if I can do the CCIE Enterprise Infrastructure written exam to renew my routing and switching CCIE? I believe what's going to happen is that they're upgrading all of us. So when it gets to the February 2020 date, I believe when I log into my certification tracker, it's just going to show Enterprise Infrastructure. But we'll have to wait and see to see what their specific plans are here. There's a question, DNA Center is a roadblock for SD access, but can't we set up SD-WAN in a virtual environment in your home lab? Yes, SD-WAN does not require the DNA Center, so you can set it up in a virtual environment. Okay, there's a question, since Encore is a prerequisite for the lab, do we plan to release a course for the Encore exam? Yes, we do.